Today, we're going to look into the future of 2014. Hello, my name is Barry Horvath, and this is Moving Forward TV, your local market update.
And I am DeLynn Gaston. Thanks for joining us today. So fall is here, and we are on the downside of 2013. 2014 is on its way.
Whoa, back up. Fall is here. Football season is here. Thank you for joining us. What a great weekend for football it was. It was unbelievable.
I knew he was going to do this.
Thank you for bringing it up. Oh my gosh, our viewers need to know this.
Fine. Okay, football. We'll get to football. Great. I forgot how the football thing intervenes on every single one of our shows.
It ties right into
We'll get to football, but before we get there,
all right.
Before we get there, let's talk about the updated stuff that's going on for 2014 in the mortgage and real estate world. Can we do that first,
I was
please?
looking forward to the show. Okay, first of all, DeLynn, we're going to talk about what is a QM.
What is a QM?
A QM is a qualified mortgage.
I love this.
Okay. Since we're not going to talk about football, we're going to talk about the QM, just to make the real estate
we'll talk about
industry.
Football later, okay?
All right, we got to talk about good. This is what makes you money. Football, if you go to Vegas, you're not going to make money. Trust me. I have,
Someone who just got back.
Trust me, stay in the industry. You're going to make more money. Okay, so the QM basically provides a safe harbor for banks to have consumers not have any recourse against the banks if they follow certain guidelines. So that's a QM.
Wow.
Okay, no, the QM basically.
That was the legalistic, that's like what was in your license book, right? That was on the test. That was a test question.
Thank goodness I passed the test.
Okay, you memorized that. Good for you. Okay, translation, what exactly that means is that now people have to qualify for a mortgage. And I know that sounds really strange because we're like, what? What have we been doing all along? It means now that borrowers have to actually be able to prove their income, prove their assets, to qualify to be able to make and repay the loan. And I know that sounds kind of silly because supposedly that's what we were doing all along, but it was all along, but it wasn't. Back when people were doing the old stated income and stuff like that. So all of this is basically now law that now they have to qualify and be able to show that.
And the new law, as you call it, it actually is going to be law.
Right.
Will start next January.
Yes.
So in next January, under the new rules that we're going to show you, we'll touch on briefly, it's basically going to tell people how it didn't ruin their possibility of ever buying a home again.
No.
Yes.
Not that it's going to ruin their possibility. Some of the good stuff, I'm doing like the translating today. Some of the good stuff that it is going to include is that they're lightening up on, see what it was is there was two actual laws that were out there that they were put out in 2011. One of them was QRM, which stood for Qualified Residential Mortgage, and the other was QM. One less strict than the other. Now the QRM was extremely strict. That's the one that NAR, you guys know, NAR, the NBA, everybody was fighting that one, and guess what? We won. It's recently been announced that what they've done is they've kind of merged a little bit more with the QM rules to make it a little bit less restrictive. One of the things is that the underwriting is going to be a little bit less strict than what the QRM had originally proposed in 2011. Yay! So it's going to be a little bit easier for people.
Okay.
Some of the other positive changes, in the old rules, the QRM rules, they wanted borrowers to put down 20%. They wanted to have skin in the game. Now, under the QM rules, they don't have to put 20% down.
Was that your line? That was my line.
No, that was mine.
I'm just kidding. But I made you look, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Okay. All right, under the new rules, the banks must have a stake in the loan. This whole QM thing, I know it's all confusing, but really when you think about it, it's simple. In layman's terms, if they follow the guidelines, it's going to make sense for the consumer
everybody in the long
and the
run
banks.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's going to make sense. So right now, the way it was going to be was your DTI could only be 36%.
Right.
Which was going to make it very hard. What is DTI? Debt to income ratio. So if you have $1,000 a month coming in, your total debts couldn't exceed $360. That's 36%. at 43%, which is what the new rule allows, that means that same $1,000 a month income would allow you to go to $430 a month in total debts. Does that make sense?
That
Is that
makes
clear?
sense. Yes, that's
Okay.
much
All right.
clearer.
A field goal is 3 points, a touchdown is 6,
Very good.
and an
I'm
extra
not
point
done.
is 1 point. A safety will get you 2
I
points.
promised
Is that
you-
all clear?
I promised you at the end, we're almost
Okay,
done.
then. All right.
The other thing, this is a biggie for everybody, the HUD. One of the new rules is that the HUD is going to have to, mandatory, the final HUD will have to be delivered to the borrower 3 days prior to closing.
The closing settlement statement is the HUD.
Yeah, I think realtors know that.
But not everybody's a realtor.
That's true. Okay, so it
I'm
has
not
to
a
be
realtor.
delivered,
Are you a realtor?
has to be delivered to the borrowers 3 days prior to closing. That doesn't necessarily mean, oh yay. We all agree that that's a great idea, but
In a perfect world.
in a perfect world, which so many of these aren't, realistically, that's going to mean some closing delays. If
You
we have to
think?
get the HUD to the borrower and then wait 3 days to
the
close.
words closing and delay, aren't they like
Closing and delay, I know.
They kind of go together. So I think right now what we could be looking at is, I know a lot of people now are going for 30-day closings, 45-day closings, but real world, we could get up to asking for 60-day contracts when there's financing involved now, or more.
You know, and you know what? I gotta say, you know, having been in this industry for umpteen years here, it goes back to the old days. It did used to take, 60 to 90 days to do a mortgage loan because
Right.
there's a lot that has to happen now. I think too many people got used to in the subprime days. Oh, we can close in 2 weeks. We can, it got almost a game. Who can close faster or whatever. It takes time to verify things. It takes time to process things. It takes time.
Did you hear her? She said game. Okay, we're on it.
Oh my God.
All right, so anyway.
All right, fine.
49ers were unbelievable this weekend. They
Did we
just
finish
blew
our
out,
list? Yes,
all
yes.
right. No, there was one more thing in the QM we have to mention, and it was about.
And this is a good thing too.
Actually, there'll be no balloon payments. To be a QM, they say no balloon payments. So it must be like a 30-year amortized loan to fit under the qualified mortgage guidelines. So keep that in mind too. You're not gonna, people say, oh, what's this? Woo, woo, woo. So if you're getting a real loan per se, it cannot be a balloon payment.
All right, you want to do football now
No,
so
I
we
don't
can
wanna
end the
talk
show?
about football. No, I want to end the show.
All right, go ahead. Say how fun football was, and was it a good weekend for
It
football?
was a great weekend for
I heard a lot of people say their
football.
teams didn't do as well as they would have liked.
Yeah.
Dallas won.
Oh,
as our producer
Dallas
says, Dallas won.
yeah, for the
New
first
Orleans
time
won.
ever. Yeah, it happens. Before we wrap things up for this week,
Yes. One important note.
one important note, and this is kind of a downer. I hate to end on a downer,
I
but
know.
but Citizens approved a 6.3% rate hike. So for our Florida viewers, that's kind of bad. So
Also coming up in 2014.
yeah, that's another thing.
Less
for next year.
coverage, higher premiums is
Yeah,
apparently
so-
what it's going to be.
so anyway,
we
let's
need
end-
another positive thing. Give us another team who won. Who else won out there? The
here's-
Saints, Dallas, anybody else win?
Hey, here's the good news. If your team lost last week, they get to play again this week.
There you go.
There are no bye
See,
weeks
you
this
know how
week.
to turn
See?
things around.
Absolutely. So who cares about the rate hike and qualified mortgage? There'll always be football on Sunday, Monday,
And Barry's
Thursday.
happy camper.
Absolutely. All right.
All right, all that being said, get this show out, social media. And by the way, our social media did phenomenal. I mean, that show was something like what, like 40,000 people or something like that viewed that. So that was an excellent show last week. Thank you so much for sharing that show because this got out all over the place and we appreciate that. So get this one out too because QM and QRM does affect all of us come 2014.
Don't forget Facebook.
Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, all those fun things. What else
Yep.
do we want to say?
We are today and every day
We are today and every day.
moving forward.
Thanks so much. We'll see everybody next week.
Go
Bye-bye.
Bucks!